Welcome to Iconic Leadership, the podcast for female entrepreneurs who know they're here to lead, not just build a business. This show is for women stepping into the Alpha Queen era, where leadership becomes identity, power is embodied, and success is created from the inside out. Here, we explore sovereign leadership, expansion, vision, purpose, business, and the inner work that is required to build an empire that fits the woman you are becoming. Strategy matters, but who you are matters more. I'm Karissa Atkins, and this is Iconic Leadership. Welcome to the new standard of the Alpha Queen power. Hey, gorgeous queens. Welcome back. Welcome to Iconic Leadership. And I'm really excited for today's conversation. Today's conversation is all around, why women choose to play small, but most importantly, what they need to do to stop playing small, to build the confidence and become the leader that your business needs in order for you to expand your vision and really step into your most iconic year yet. So let me start by saying this right off the bat. If you're listening to this, it's not an accident. I feel like you manifested me. And if you're here, I want you to stay to the end because this is going to be a fantastic show today. All right. So women who are built for more, they don't always start out believing that they're built for more. In fact, most of them spend years knowing something inside them is bigger, while simultaneously playing small enough to stay safe. And I know this because that woman used to be me. There was a time in my life where I was scared and lonely and deeply disconnected from my worth. I was told, right, all the time that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't lovable enough, and that abuse was normal, and that survival was success. I was like, if I could just survive another day, I'd be doing okay, right? And when you hear those messages long enough, ladies, the messages, they tend to be from other people first, and then we start to believe them as our truth, right? When I started to hear those messages of I'm not lovable enough, and I'm not very smart, and I can't read, like all of that starts to create this identity of who I am is not enough, and I'm not worthy of great things. And when you hear those types of messages long enough, they don't just hurt. They become part of your identity. But even in my darkest moments, there was something that never left me. A quiet knowing, a whisper that said, this is not the end of your story, Karissa. I didn't have the language for it yet. I didn't have the evidence to prove it yet. But I always knew I was built for more. And if you're listening to this, I suspect you know that you know you're meant for more too. That some part of your gut and your body is telling you that you're meant for bigger things. You were put on this earth to fulfill a bigger purpose, a bigger vision. And maybe you don't know what that is yet, and that is okay. Okay? And here's the part that not a lot of people talk about. Knowing you're built for more is not always empowering. Sometimes it's scary and sometimes it's painful, because when you know you're built for more, but your life, your business, your voice, your visibility doesn't reflect it, you start questioning yourself, right? A part of you, you want visibility, but the other part of you is afraid to be seen. You have an amazing message to share, but you keep your voice small. You feel called to lead, but you hesitate when it's time to step forward. And it's not because you lack talent, and it's definitely not because you lack intelligence, but because the identity required to hold more has not been fully installed or even created yet. And leadership, real leadership, exposes that gap. So I actually want to take you back to 2023. I hired a coach thinking I needed more strategy. And to be fair, the strategy that I learned, it worked at first, right? I moved from $3,000 months to $10,000 months, and for the first time, I felt like a very successful coach. I used to believe that my success was based on how much money I earned every month. It's kind of like back when I was overweight and I was like, oh, it's going to be a great day because the number on the scale reflected weight loss, right? I was like, oh, it's going to be a great day, right? Like I was chasing numbers to find fulfillment and happiness. And wow, right? That circled back around as an entrepreneur, right? I thought that after a $10,000 week or month or day made me feel very, very successful. And yes, I did. I felt like a freaking rock star of a coach. I broke through this magical barrier of $10,000 months. Okay, because a lot of coaches and consultants and healers and practitioners, they strive for the $10,000 number, right? If I could just hit 10K, that would lead me to a $100,000 a year. That would mean that I completely, swapped my income from my corporate career to doing something I love, right? Like $10,000, $100,000 years. These are like magic numbers for a lot of coaches. And 10,000, I feel like when a coach reaches a $10,000 month or a $100,000 year, she really starts to feel like a successful coach. And I fell into that trap too. But by then, my coach asked me a question that ultimately changed everything for me. Right. So I was hitting $10,000 months when I had a discussion with my coach, and he said, Karissa, what do you want to create in the next 12 months? I know it's a very simple question, but it's actually really complex for a lot of people, right? You would think it would be easy to just, think about what it is that you want to create for your life for your next 12 months. But it's actually a really difficult question if you've never, if you never really played with what you get to create for yourself. And guys, that question when he asked me that, I took some time. I took about 10 to 20 seconds to really think about how I wanted to answer him. And he held that beautiful space for me because he knew that something was like percolating, right? Something he could literally see the mechanism starting to fire and wire in my brain as I sat to myself and I said, Karissa, what do you want to create? What do you feel that, you've been called to do? What is your bigger purpose? Because if I just focused on the month to month, the day to day, it was make a sale, get new clients, enroll new people, right? Speak more on stages. It was like the strategy that I focused on. But really, when you take a step back and you think of a bigger picture, what do you want to create for yourself in the next 12 months? What do you want to create for your life? These are big questions. And so I sat to myself for 20 seconds and then I let it rip, right? Something cracked open inside of me. And I didn't edit what I was saying. I didn't shrink, right? I didn't play small. I didn't, want to be realistic. I just spoke from the truth. I talked about impact. I talked about scale. I talked about the legacy that I wanted to leave behind and the kind of work that outlives you, right? I talked about impacting the next, 5 generations of women's lives. I talked about my scalability was like, I don't just want to work with women locally. I want to go, nationally. I want to go globally. I talked about a version of me that I was like, when I am long gone from this earth, this is what I want women to remember me and my company by. That is the kind of work that I'm talking about, guys. That is what, the legacy that you truly leave behind. And when I finished, literally word vomiting all over, he looked at me and he said, Karissa, that is not a vision of a coach. That's a vision of a movement leader. Now, that's the very first time that I actually heard the word movement leader. Okay. And I was like, what? What is this thing? What is a movement leader? And immediately I started thinking of like, MLK and like people who lead movements of people, Gandhi, like all of these incredible leaders that are known in in the world. You don't even need to be in personal development, but you know who Tony Robbins is, right? So I like knew I had this moment, this epiphany. I was like, holy shit, that is a vision of a movement leader. That's not what coaches talk about, right? Coaches focus on the day to day, they focus on the new client, they focus on the strategy, they focus on the branding, they focus on the marketing. But right then and there, I really focused on the bigger picture. And so for a quick moment, my body kind of calibrated this and I was like, holy shit. And some part of me, I was like, I don't know if I can do this shit. This is crazy. And so I asked him, I said, very honestly, I said, do you actually think I'm capable of leading a movement like this? I doubted myself just for a little bit. And he said, Karissa, I wouldn't be sitting here with you if I didn't believe that to be true. And that was the moment, right? That was the magical moment for me. It wasn't a strategy shift. It was an identity shift. It was $1 million decision shift. And because within seconds, you guys, I stopped seeing myself. I stopped viewing myself as just a coach, and I began to embody the identity of a movement leader. And within a matter of 3 months, reality caught up with me. It only took me 3 months to, go from those 3K, 10K months to $100,000 weeks. It took me 3 months to go from I'm a CEO and coach of my company to a team of 7. It took me 3 months to go from the idea of leading a movement, the idea, to actually leading my very first global women's empowerment tour. Reality caught up to the identity that I had in a matter of minutes. And it was incredible. It was incredible. I stopped speaking on local stages and I went to global stages, impacting millions of lives. So, about 6 months after this epic evolution happened for me, right, my coach then came to me and he said, Karissa, I don't know if you really know what you've done. And I was like, what? I'm just like living my best life right now. Like, what have I done? And he said, Carissa, what takes the average entrepreneur 5, 10, even 15 or 20 years to evolve into, right? From coach to movement leader, you were able to do it in months. What takes someone decades, you do in months, you know? He even reflected back. He's like, what you now make in a month or a week sometimes is what you used to make in a year at your corporate job. And I was like, holy shit, I'm a quantum leaper, right? Like everything that I do it like this. Okay. And then he said, how? How did you upgrade your identity so fast? My coach was now coming to me. My leadership coach was coming to me and asking me the how. How did you upgrade your identity so fast? And when he added this onto his sentence. He said, if you can learn what you did and then teach it, I guarantee you'll be a millionaire within 5 years. I knew that this was the work that I was really stepping into. I realized that I was like, oh my gosh, because I put him on a really high pedestal. I was like, holy crap, he's a multimillionaire. He runs multiple businesses, he works with high level leaders, and he's reflecting something very magical back to me that I hadn't seen yet. That's the beautiful part about working with coaches, you guys, is that they can reflect back to us a perspective that we have not yet seen for ourselves. I was just in it. I was just doing my thing. And he reflected back to me that what I was doing it's like almost unheard of, right? I'm part of the 1% of entrepreneurs who can do something pretty quick. So what did I do? Right? I dove in. I started studying myself. I was like, what does make me part of the 1%? How did I quantum leap? How did I upgrade my identity? How did I go from 3K months to 100K weeks? And I'm telling you guys, it was not strategy alone. Did I need strategy? 100%. Guys, if you are new in business and you don't have a solid marketing, branding, and growth strategy, you need to get on board with working with a coach. And if that's you, right? Like we definitely help our clients build the strategy and the systems. You need that. You need to learn the sales skills and how to market yourself and how to, really create a personal brand that's so magnetic that brings people in. That's a part of what we do, but strategy alone will not take you there. Because if that was the case, then everybody would be multimillionaires. Because the strategy is the easy part. Something that you want, somebody else has already built. So you just need to go out and hire them to help you build the thing. That's what we do on the business side of the Alpha Queen Collective. But strategy alone is not going to cut it. You have to be willing to, create an identity. You have to go through an identity evolution, and you need to do it faster than the average person. Okay, so here's the truth. Women who are built for more, you don't need more information. You don't need more certifications. You don't need another course telling you how to post on Instagram today. What you need is identity clarity, nervous system regulation, standards that meet their calling, and permission, right, to stop asking and start doing. Okay. So this is the hard part, though, with all of that, is that if the woman behind the brand, well, what we do inside the AQC on the identity level creation side, right, on the mindset development side, on the leadership side, is we build the woman behind the brand. Because if you only build the brand and not the woman, your business, your brand will collapse under pressure. No strategy will save you. Okay, you'll have to start over again. And that's why so many brilliant, brilliant women plateau. They outgrow their current identity before they outgrow their current strategy. So what sets us apart, the Alpha Queen Collective, is this exactly, like this is what we do. This is exactly why the Alpha Queen Collective exists. This is not coaching that tells you what to do. This is leadership work that shows you who to become. Okay, so we give you both the strategy, the business mastery side, and the self-mastery side. I work with women who know they're meant to build something bigger than themselves, even when they can't fully articulate it yet. Often the vision hasn't taken space up in their mind, but I can see it. I am a visionary. It's like I can see what's possible 10, 20, 30, 100 steps ahead of what they can see for themselves. All I get to do is just plant the seeds and talk about it. And if they like the idea, we run with it, right? I can see what's possible for them before they can even see it for themselves, just like my coach did for me. And I guide them into that vision that feels expansive and aligned and true. And when that clicks, right? When this identity clicks and the strategy clicks, boom, we have magic. These women realize that they have been playing at a fraction of their capacity. They've been earning at a fraction of what they're capable of earning. So let me show you what this looks like in real time. One of my clients came to me capped at $10,000 months. She didn't need another funnel, right? She needed to stop negotiating with herself. And through identity and energy work, we aligned her future identity to her current reality. And the breakthrough that followed, after that was insane, right? $20,000 month, $30,000 month. It was incredible to watch her step into her power. But more importantly, right, than all the money, is that she truly claimed who she was always destined to be, right? She truly stepped into more alignment, more power, more ease, more flow. That identity shift led her to authorship. It led her to sharing her voice with over 15,000 people on an international speaking tour. Another one of my clients, right? A three-time award-winning franchise owner came to me not for business skills, but for belief. She wanted to know at a soul level that she was a great leader. And this was so long ago. It's just so much fun to watch my clients. This was probably 3 years ago, you guys. It's been so much fun watching her play at bigger levels, right? She wanted to know at a soul level that she was a great leader. And through identity work and courageous action, and me challenging her and encouraging her, and her stepping in, to some rooms that she didn't think that she was ready for. But I was like, who freaking cares if you feel that you're ready for it now? I want you to do it. I want you to step onto one of the most prestigious stages in the world, Harvard. Every speaker's dream to be able to say that you've spoken at Harvard, right? I helped her, step into her power, and she did it flawlessly. It was beautiful to watch her. That moment activated what I believe is her purpose. And today she's speaking, she's empowering, she's doing the damn thing. And another one of my clients came to me carrying years of trauma and dismissal, years and years of, disbelief in herself. And together we rebuilt her identity. We clarified her purpose. We designed a business aligned with her truth. And today she's a published author, she's a speaker, and she's a leader. What began as a healing journey became purpose. Purpose became impact, and impact became movement. These women are not anomalies. They're evidence. Evidence of what happens when women say yes to themselves, when they stop shrinking their voices, when they stop waiting to feel ready, when they choose identity over approval. This is the Alpha Queen era. And if you know you're built for more, this is the work that you need to do. So here's what I want to reflect back to you, the way my coach reflected back to me. I want you to take a moment, ask yourself, honestly, what do I want to create? If I could wave the magic wand, what would I want my life to look like, be like, feel like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? What do I want to create for myself? Not what feels safe, not what feels realistic, not what would make other people feel comfortable. What do you want to create for your life, for your work, for your legacy? And then I want you to ask the even braver question. Am I willing to become the woman who can do it, who can hold that vision? Because purpose without courage becomes frustration. But purpose paired with embodied action, that is leadership. Welcome to the Alpha Queen era, ladies. Oh, it feels so good to play in this space. And if you know you're built for more, this is your invitation. Your invitation to stop playing small, to stop keeping your voice quiet, to stop waiting for permission to shine. Inside the Alpha Queen Collective, women don't just learn, right, the business strategies. They gain deep self-trust in themselves, emotional resilience, unshakable identities, and the confidence to lead visible and boldly and globally. Mentally, they become clear, decisive, unshakable. Physically, they feel calm, more grounded, less reactive. Because when your identity stabilizes, everything else rises to meet it. And before we close out today, I want to speak directly to the woman who's listening to this and thinking, I know I'm meant for more, but I can feel the fear in my body. If you're looking for a coach or a mentor who doesn't just help you grow your business, but it's going to help you become the woman who can lead that business, this is the work that I do. This is what I'm known for. This is why women stay with me for years and years. But this is the work I love to do. I'm obsessed with it. Okay. We don't just build brands here. We build the woman behind the brand. And inside my world, we work on overcoming fear at an identity level. We work on building real confidence and self-trust. We work on emotional regulation under pressure, mindset mastery that actually holds when things get big and scary. And of course, we work on the kind of resilience that allows you to lead Because no strategy will save you if you're a woman running the business that doesn't trust herself yet. And if you know you're ready to stop playing small and stop second guessing your voice, and you're ready to step fully into the leader your business requires, your family requires, you require for yourself, I invite you to book a private call with me. Not to be sold to, but to see if we're aligned to do this work together. I don't work with everyone. I only work with women who are ready to truly transform from the inside out. You can book that call. The details are in the show notes below. And let me close with this. You are built for more. Built for more is not a pipe dream. It's an identity. And when you claim it, you don't just change your life. You lead others to rise with you. And that is the magical part about being a true leader. I will see you on next episode, and I cannot wait to hear your takeaways. Please subscribe to our channel. If you loved today's episode, please let me know. Let me know what what resonated with you and what is lighting you up inside. And if you have any questions, of course, I would love to discuss this with you. Just drop me a comment, subscribe, and I will see you on another episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Iconic Leadership. If today's conversation activated something within you, make sure you subscribe and share this podcast with women who are ready to rise up too. Leaving a review helps this movement reach more women stepping into their power. This is Iconic Leadership.